Beyond that, the stay-at-home restrictions for Metro Melbourne will be enhanced. There will be additional limits to the 4 reasons to leave home. You will no longer be able to leave home and go any further away from your home than a 5-kilometre radius. You will not be able to be at any point more than 5 kilometres away from your home for the purposes of shopping for what you need. Only one person will be able to go shopping once per day, and they will need to secure the goods and services that are what you need within a 5-kilometre radius. In terms of exercise, recreational activity is now no longer allowed. You will be allowed to have 1 hour of exercise no further than 5 kilometres from your home. That means it's fresh air. It's a jog, it's a walk, it's in your local neighbourhood. It is staying close to home or in your home, and there will no longer be able to be any groups bigger than 2, regardless of whether they are from your family or someone else.
Australia, a former prison colony that is literally reverting back into a prison. Well, don't worry. First they said 2 weeks. That video, it was only going to be for 6 weeks. Well, now those same restrictions extended once again based off no science at all. Just the total subjugation of the human spirit. And that's why in this video, we specifically will be talking about Australia and now the 2 years of social distancing, banning of foreign travel, until, of course, the magic jab comes. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org. A lot of important things to talk about in this video. Of course, trying to shed a light on the reality of the world that we live in, while, of course, ignoring the outright utter lunacy that dominates mainstream media, quote, pop culture. Lots of videos you see out there, and there's a lot to call out. And because we do, we get screwed over by Google, by Alphabet, by YouTube, and a lot of our content is heavily shadow banned, of course 100% demonetized and censored in many different ways. And that's why we have started a partnership with companies that provide a good service that I personally use, that I personally like, and I think you will too. And one of them is VPN City. If you're looking for unrestricted content worldwide without any government or private entity standing in the way from you enjoying anything you want to see anywhere in the world, while of course adding an extra layer of privacy and security to your online experience, check out VPN City, which you could pretty much use on all platforms available online. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee. I like them. Their services are extremely affordable, and with the massive restrictions that governments are putting into place all over the world, I would definitely recommend getting a VPN before it's too late. So yeah, check out VPN City. The link to this will be down in the description below. Now, as the world has to deal with more restrictions, more lockdowns, more insane draconian government measures that are not based off science, the people in Wuhan are absolutely celebrating, with thousands of people gathering to literal pool parties where, of course, there are no masks, no social distancing, and they're in a pool, which is a proverbial petri dish. And now you compare that to the rest of the world, specifically Australia, and you really have to wonder what's going on. But in the Western world, we are seeing, again, time and time, propaganda being regurgitated to us, like this article by the New York Post that is titled, "Dutch Woman Becomes the First Known Death from a Conholio Reinfection." And obviously, with a lot of mysteries, with a lot of uncertainty, with a lot of darkness, with a lot of things that we clearly don't see and don't understand, you, of course, have the formation of fear. And now, with sadly most people just reading headlines, they're going to take that as a fact that the Conholio sickness is such a serious one that it comes back, reinfects people, and then totally eviscerates and destroys them. And that's terrifying for individuals that might have gone through a sickness or might have tested positive, but they don't mention here, especially in this headline here, you really have to read the story to get the full context here, that this happened to an 89-year-old woman on chemotherapy that was immune compromised, that was the only person, one out of 700 million people, that allegedly got it twice and passed away. And come on. I mean, are you serious? And I mean, come on, are you freaking kidding me? Immune compromised, 89 years old, on chemotherapy. There also is a larger question regarding the test, which we covered extensively on this YouTube channel. But because people read the headlines and they're living in a constant state of fear from the mainstream media and government, we now have more isolations, lockdowns, curfews that absolutely defy any kind of logic or scientific reasoning. We have seen the utter destruction of individuals' lives and entire metropolitan areas like New York City that just in 7 months had most of its businesses shuttered and destroyed, not from this sickness. It's important to understand here, the sickness didn't do this. It was politicians who did. And we are seeing sadistic political regimes literally distort logic in order to gain power over individuals. And what's happening in New York City, I mean, is just absolutely insane. There are government snitches, government spies walking around to private businesses and fining them for the smallest, most ridiculous infraction of, quote, non-compliance. By the way, this is the same political regime that cheers on riots and protests when, of course, it works towards their narrative, their agenda. They love Black Lives Matter, but when it comes to a bunch of Hasidic Jewish people coming together and protesting them, no. Well, the organizer got arrested and is being charged to the fullest extent of the law. Yes, the organizer of the Hasidic Jewish protest in Brooklyn, New York, is now facing 4 charges. One, inciting a riot, which there never was a riot. It was never classified a riot, but somehow the NYPD, the little pathetic punk yellow bellies that get disrespected by the government, but yet follow every one of its orders to the T, thinks that he should be charged with inciting a riot, and 3 other charges relating to an incident with another journalist who, from all accounts, I haven't seen injured at all. And of course, what did you expect? You give politicians any bit of your sovereignty, any bit of your freedom for allegedly temporary security. If you transfer over your freedoms to them, they're going to be doing the most idiotic, ridiculous things, and the idiocy doesn't stop in New York City, as now in the United Kingdom, if you dance or sing inside of a pub, you will be fined £1,000. Yes, just when the government ninnies couldn't become more draconian. If you own and operate a pub, a bar in England, and people come there and they decide to dance or play music, you, the bar owner, will be robbed at gunpoint by the state. The government will literally threaten force on you if you don't pay them £1,000 for people dancing or singing in your business. Imagine being a bar owner and trying to stop a bunch of drunk people from singing and dancing. That, of course, will create a situation where people are at each other's throats, angry at each other, creating the divide, creating the anger, creating the confusion, which, of course, government thrives off of. And now, in Australia, the former prison colony of the United Kingdom, the government has announced there that lockdown and social distancing measures will be in place until 2022. Getting out of this new proverbial prison will be only done if you have exact permission from the government, as of course travel will be limited, not just outside of Australia, but also within Australia. There are already measures in place where you can't go from one state to another. You're not allowed to do that in Australia. Those restrictions are allegedly going to end in Christmas, but just as you saw from the video in the beginning that we just played here, these are the same restrictions that were supposed to end now, but are being extended. And the federal government of Australia is literally coming out and saying all of this will end in 2 years, when, of course, the Australian population will be jabbed with a rushed vaccine that, of course, the vaccine producers won't face any liability from if there are any problems or consequences for them. But until, according to the federal government of Australia, everyone is jabbed, these restrictions will remain in place. Again, they are literally planning to jab the entire population, which they think will happen at the end of 2021 for again, something that is being rushed, something that there never has ever existed in human history. And all previous examples of it, like SARS, there has never ever been a vaccine for. Ever. It's highly unlikely that there will be one now, especially one that is rushed. But the Australian government doesn't care, and they're making this the main determining factor of if the government is going to stop treating its citizens like prisoners. I mean, right now, in certain parts of Australia, citizens can't walk 5 kilometers outside of their house. Like prisoners, they're only allowed 1 hour outside of their house. Majority of jobs, employment, and businesses are absolutely shut down. And this is going to continue until this mystery magical jab comes and everyone has to get it. Now, obviously, this should distress everyone, except for, of course, Bill Gates, that is profiting off of this entire tragedy in record numbers, especially with his investments, which Newsweek even called out recently, in the vaccine industry. But this goes along with what Bill Gates has been saying, that the, quote, world won't return to normal until a lot of people take not just the first, but now a second Conholio jab, which is utterly insane. Again, Bill Gates, even on the record, said himself the best investment he's ever made was into the vaccine industry, which of course he is profiting off of very, very well. All of the major companies he's in, and he's not even a medical doctor. There are actual medical doctors that are coming out and are saying that the biggest threat here is the lockdown itself, as now a group of medical doctors have come together in Australia calling for the lockdowns to end immediately. 500 medical experts are saying that the lockdowns in Australia are causing severe harm, a spike in mental health issues, and a major decline in medical tests like cancer and chest pains, which is increasing the severity of actual medical issues that people have to deal with. These medical doctors are saying one thing, but we have to listen to a billionaire that's invested in the jab that, of course, the government somehow prefers over actually from listening to real scientists. They are literally ignoring the data. They are literally ignoring the science. They are literally ignoring the experts and scientists who are saying one thing, and they're saying, that doesn't matter. We have Mr. Bill Gates here. Yeah, of course, because nothing could go wrong with trusting one of the world's richest people who was known as being a cutthroat businessman who has very close ties to eugenicists and population control measures. Yes, nothing could go wrong with absolutely trusting him, who's not a medical doctor, over, of course, the medical doctors. Do you see the frustration here of what's actually going on? This important paradox of an individual who publicly said that he was donating all of his money, but yet has doubled his wealth. And when you have to understand, when this is happening, this has absolutely nothing to do with your health, with your well-being, but it has everything to do with your subjugation. And the crazy thing is, for even reporting on this, or even the Great Reset agenda, I get screwed. My livelihood is on the line because just for reporting these facts, just for sticking with these scientists, with these doctors, YouTube can take me down and destroy me, censor me, delete this channel like they've done to many other individuals for far less. So yeah, we're living in an absolutely insane reality that needs all hands on deck. If you look at what happened with Sweden, when you compare it to Australia, my goodness, do you have a world of difference. Again, and if that wasn't enough, I'm sorry, I don't believe the government and Bill Gates, who are very strongly connected to Jeffrey Epstein, still haven't explained their large connections and enabling of his horrible actions. I'm sorry, I don't trust Jeffrey Epstein's friends for my medical choices and personal decisions that I can make myself. I'm sorry, these people should not be in charge of anything, especially human life. So yeah, it's more critically important than ever that you share this video, but also check out our mailing list because, again, when we're speaking about such important issues, any moment, any time, we could just get cut. And one of the ways to prevent that is, of course, to sign up on our email list, which would give us direct contact from me to you. There would be no middleman. There would be no wall. There would be no one saying, hey, you can't hear those things because of these ideas. There's nothing, especially when we could communicate one-on-one. Very easily, we could do that by just signing up on the email list. The link to that will also, of course, be down in the description below. Click it, put it in your email, get a confirmation email. Boom, we've done it. That's one way to beat out all of this nonsense, hooey, bullcrap, caca that's happening right now and get out of the way of all the censors. So I really hope you guys do that. And because some of you guys still do, I'm still here. And this is why. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.